Well, the most exciting day of training camp so far because the pads are on. There was contact involved. I'm Sierra Goodwill here with Evan Lazar and Alex Barth. Guys, today was the first day you could really kind of evaluate players and their growth and how they're fitting into the system. So let's go through our observations from day 3. What sticks out to you the most?
Well, the best thing about pads is that you get to see the linemen actually hit some people.
Yeah.
So we got to see some one-on-ones today. Everybody got 2 reps. He kind of rotated in. And Derek Rivers actually won both of his reps, which I think is pretty notable because he did not win a single one-on-one rep last training camp at all, not one. So he actually beat Marcus Cannon with a pretty good move. You know, obviously it's year 3 for Derek Rivers, tore his ACL as a rookie. I think that there is a chance that, you know, he's a guy that's on the bubble certainly and doesn't make this team altogether. And practices like today, if he continues to build on it, are going to obviously bode well for him. There's still a ton of potential there, right? I mean, we've seen the potential, but he obviously has struggled to get onto the field. So I think that Derek Rivers had a nice day for himself today, and if he can continue to build on that, then maybe we're talking about him making the roster over some other guys, like maybe like a John Simon. I think Chase Winovich is probably pretty safe with his draft status, but they'll find a way to get him on if they can.
But and you mentioned Winovich playing time too. It's not just about the roster spot, but where on the roster. I'm just going to pick up on something we talked about yesterday, and that's the injuries. Like Evan mentioned, we got to see the offensive line. A few guys we didn't get to see. Isaiah Wynn, he was still off to the side for 11-on-11 drills, so we're not totally sure where he's at, although that's clearly an indication he's not at 100%. He's not totally ready to go. And then David Andrews did return to practice, which is a good sign, so I don't want this to come across as a total negative, but he was off to the side as well. He had a very limited workload today. So as it stands right now, the Patriots without 2/5 of their starting offensive line, and then you could argue another guy, Tooney, playing out of position. He's been at left tackle, and they're rotating through a couple of different left guards and centers. So call it 2.5 out of 5, half the offensive line right now, not where they want them to be, and that's something that's going to bear monitoring. We still have time, but you know, as weeks go by, you hope that that picture starts to kind of lose the fog a little bit.
And Sony Michel was back today again. He was a limited participant, but it was good to see him he said it felt good to put on the pads and play some real football. I'm sure this injury had kind of set him back a little bit.
We were actually down on the sidelines early in practice when he was running on the bags. He didn't do 11-on-11s, but we saw him doing ladder drills and that, and he was moving very well, I thought, for a guy who had knee surgery a couple months ago. Still not in the team stuff, but he did. There was no negative takeaway from watching him run. I didn't think he was laboring at all or he was hindered at all.
This is a big training camp for him, too, because remember, he wasn't in training camp for most of last season, really didn't practice at all in August. So even though he had his whole rookie year to build on, this is where he can really work on some of the details, maybe get a little bit more involved in the passing game, which I think is something that everybody would like to see.
And don't freak out, but Tom Brady was a little bit rusty today.
Wasn't
maybe
his
that
best
day off got to him, but he was 0 for 4 in 11-on-11s. But like we said, shouldn't be too worrisome. Jarrett Stidham, again, was pretty impressive building off yesterday's performance, but overall, not anything too out of the ordinary today in day 3.
Yeah, Brady, you know, it's interesting because a lot of the throws, when you watch it, it's a lot of timing issues right now, which is what you would expect this early on in practice. I mean, he had a slant that was almost picked off by Stephon Gilmore that he's throwing to Maurice Harris, who he's thrown maybe 10 passes to in his entire life right now. So there's going to be some growing pains, I think, there. You know, we're kind of accustomed, I think, to September being a slow month for the Patriots. They have a pretty easy schedule in September this year, but I think that we're still going to see some of those September growing pains that we saw last year.
This FOXBORO report is brought to you by betonline.ag. Head to clnsmedia.com/win. Enter promo code CLNS50 for 50% added back to your sportsbook bankroll. For all of our training camp coverage, go to our website at clnsmedia.com and subscribe to our YouTube channel at CLNS Media.